Yes, the morning after the auction. Don't get me coughing already. All right, get going here in just a minute. I just looked at my hands. Sorry, look. Yeah, I've been cleaning out. I cleaned out my little Sumi ink pan today, and I also grabbed a couple fountain pens that were dirty, ugly, and so I look like I have the hands of somebody who's on a movie set or somebody who just changed oil in a tractor. So sorry about that. It'll just have to happen. Joe Brown, good morning to you. Let me say hi. So this music winds down here in the next few minutes. Marlena Davis, thank you for being on. Karen Binder, Bender, Cinder, Denise Albright, blessings to you. Carol Todd Monday, look at that. Out of the mothballs. Pow. Good to have you on. Marie Piker, thank you for being here. Jason Nicholas, Community, Coffee, and Creativity. Ah, yes, C cubed. Joe Brown, good morning to you, man. Hope you're doing well. Mary Hamilton, good morning to you. Great to have you on the show. Glad you're here. Jean Ann Thalzer, Stephen Dockery, good morning. The bird painter himself. I forgot to message you back, like the dang groundhog. Yeah. Well, don't worry. I think I messaged you what we were looking for, right? Yeah. Okay. Marie Baruch Namer. Marie showed up at the auction. I'll tell you that. Marie's working on something. I don't know what it is. I think she's building a small shed in her backyard, and the roof is going to be Roodoodles. But I'm not complaining. Blessings to you. Okay. Scott Baber, thank you for being on the show. And Donacell Barton, thought of you last night when I sold one of my original Rube Goldberg sketches that went to grit. Look at my hands. That is just so bad. I'm so sorry. Okay. Golly. Just put my hands in my water jar here and clean them off for a little bit. Maybe it's on my skillet. That's where I'm touching it. All right. This is my little skillet. This will just do one egg. But actually, this is a little pattern of a butter patch skillet. A friend of mine, I think he still does some consulting with the company, dear friend. Known him and his wife before they were married, great folks. And he has some, we love to talk cast iron. This is what their number 13 would look like. And he gave me one of their little patterns, and I thought, I'm going to put it on my desk. And then one day I realized I could put ink in it, and it just is fantastic for that. Of course, you got to, every now and then, you got to go and clean it out. All right, let me say hello to you, heads up here. Hey, folks, Michael here. The grandkids call me Roo. Only one kid here today. He's 4. His mom and dad are in Ireland. And so I think I need to do a little Roo doing an Irish jig. And I'm going to do them in black and white. I haven't done a black and white Roo in a long time. And so let me see if I can get picture up and working here just for a second. There it is right there. Let's move this over. We'll go to here like that. That gives me a little spot in the corner. I could put this here and drip it over. Yeah, why not? What the heck? Okay, so there, everything's kind of out of the way. Let me go ahead and pour some oil. Yeah, let me put some oil in this. I'm cooking with cast iron. Let's put some oil in here. I'm just going to try and drop a little bit of this Sumi ink in here. Drip. Yeah, that ought to be enough. And then waste some. Man, do not use this stuff use it sparingly is what I should say. You should never start a sentence by saying, do not use. You can use whatever you want. I don't care. Okay, but use it sparingly. Let's see. Somewhere there should be a small bamboo brush in here. I don't see the one I'm looking for, so I might have to go with a bigger one today. There's a tiny one right there. I'll use that. Haven't used a bamboo brush in a while. I've been painting with these Miller Pseudo Sables. Man, I got to tell you, I love them. I try to keep them out of the ink because they're so beautiful and pristine. Look at me. I'm doing what Carol does when she rides her brushes. All right. So keeping Kinziah, who is our 4-year-old, for a couple days. The family's in Ireland. They're doing a little sightseeing, but also my son Grant, his wife Samantha, is there on a foster association thing. She's part of that organization, and they've had like 22 placements of foster children. And the adopted grandson they have now. It's just a joy, and so it's really cool. All right, so I just sketched this with a safari pen. I haven't done that in a long time. I got a weird shadow again in here. Where's it from? I'm going to have to, once I now I'm cleaning everything up in my office. I'll paint this, and then I got a little story about last evening that I'll pitch in with. Let's see if I can find a little piece of Irish music here. And Irish music. What about this? Of course, it's Delbony Grace. How could that not be Irish? I'll mess that up. All right, so let's go in here with a little bit of water. Just don't miss this part. I do this on Saturday sometimes. Sometimes when, even when I'm not online, I'll just go get my brushes and some of this Sumi ink, and I'll just paint. I'm glad I wet that, dirtied up my water a little bit, because you can see where the water is. Okay, you can see where I'm just bringing it in. I'm not trying to fill up everything in the whole wide world. Okay. This is just to make it happen a little bit, like so. And then maybe shoot up. And now I'm going to go grab some of this. Here it is right here in this little pan. Can you watch close? Because here's where I don't do the magic. It just happens. Watch close. Boom. And boom. And there comes the aisle. The green aisle. It's going down, and look at it go. Oh my gosh. You know what? I think there's a little bit of happening here. I think this pan had a little trace of soap in it, and I think I'm getting some strange, curvaceous swirlings, almost like marbleizing. Look at that. I'm almost afraid. No, I'm not almost afraid. I am afraid to tell. I'm not afraid of it. I'm not going to touch it. But what I'd like to do here is take this and go ahead and let it be a leg. I've got it down here like this. I'm going to take the handle of a small brush. Here we go. Let's just grab something here. Here's an American Journey. Let me turn the music down. Maybe it's just loud for me. All right. I may try to paint a roux of my own tomorrow, Evelyn Davis Morales says. Well, you should. You know, dancing to jig music here in Wyoming. All right, so watch this. I'm going to take this brush and just wet it a little bit, and I'm going to use it to just drag through the ink and use it as a thin little brush to just get some woolies out. If you're dancing, your hair is going in every direction. We have to put some green, some verdant green down in here. Isn't that great? You know, we lived in Ponte Vedra for 12 years, and so Ponte Vedra Beach is the pont is the bridge to the green. Isn't that a cool name for a city? It was like living in Oz. That's what we called it. Get up at 12, go to work for 1, take an hour for lunch, and then at 2 you're done. Jolly good fun. Okay, so I do this from time to time, and it's the most refreshing thing that I do. Look at that. And it's just where, here's the thing you got to learn about watercolor. Color follows water, just like it does when you dig a trough in the sand. It takes the path of least resistance. And so the high places in the paper, the dry places in the paper. Whoa, did I just come up with something new? The high and dry will stay as wet as your eye. Yeah, I'm not right. Okay, anyway, I just thought of that though. So it's those high dry places. I think what I want to do is I want to come in here and just dance a little water right up in here. My music died, but my painting has stayed alive. You see it? It's alive. All right, that's pretty cool right there. I like it very much. All right, let's put that down in here. Let's go get just a little bit of this right here. Come in right here. I might touch a little bit there. I might go get a little bit of a color, because I think the only color I'm going to have in here is if you were in Ireland, you would have your dancing socks on. Your little pointed, beautiful black shoes and your socks. Ruth Get Gay, thank you for being on. It's been a while since I've watched you live. Well, I'm still alive, Ruth. Barely, but thank you. Hey, Heather, glad you're on the show this morning. Elaine Barnett, thank you. Let's see who else. Jason Nichols, love the looseness and boldness of this. Yeah, it just takes off, Jason. You know that sometimes, man. So love it. Jennifer Jens, thanks for being on the show. Maggie Carnahan, thank you for being here this morning. Fern Skelly, thank you for being on last night. Ginger Land Pate. Those of you who missed the auction, here's all I'm gonna say. You missed the auction. Okay. All right. So let me go get some an '07. Here's an '07 Pentel Intergel, and I'm just gonna start doing some cross hatching. There's the cross part of it. Crossing the page. By the way, I'm not going back and forth. It makes little Z's and V's. I'm not doing that. I'm just dragging it all one way. And now I'm dragging it one way the other way. I just turned my paper a little bit. And under the foot here, I'm dragging it a little closer together because I want some shadow in there. And this is really going to create the earth right here. This is all I do for grass. People go, man, I like the way your grass kind of shows out there. And I'll go, yeah, well, yes, that's the same way I do my yard. The neighbors don't like it, but it saves me a lot of mowing. All right, I'm going to grab some green, and I need some verdant green here. Let's just go with this this beautiful Irish verdant green here. Carol and we got a phone call last night from Dublin, and son and daughter-in-law said, hey, we were just in a restaurant that loves Phil, and we know you guys got us started watching Somebody Feed Phil, and we still watch it, so turn on to such and such. So it wasn't like we hadn't seen Phil in Dublin a few times, but we watched it again. It was really fun. That was last night, late after the auction. I went downstairs. I was so keyed up, I'd had a cup of hot vitamin C. There's a big difference there, isn't there? My brain sometimes can't be trusted. All right, I'm going to put on a little bit of dancing socks here. Yeah, just let that pen. Here's where when you get bold enough to sketch with a Lamy fountain pen or something like that, you're going to get some wash and some more color than you even wanted. Sometimes more than you desired, but just run with it. Just go. Who cares? You know, people ask me all the time, gosh, I had a pushy salesman come in my driveway this week, and he looked up at my roof. He's standing there, and he's trying to make a point. He's going, and I said, did you lose something? I can go get it for you. Or he goes, oh, yeah, no, I'm just looking at this roof. There's a strange pattern down through there. I said, yeah, I think the guy fell off the roof, and that's his, where he was scarred, and he slid down the roof. And he goes, well, it looks terrible. And I said, well, you don't have to look at it. You don't live here. And this is the only time of year you can see it because the leaves are off my river birch trees. And he goes, well, if I were roofing your house, I'd have changed that. I said, but you didn't roof my house. And I said, by the way, this sales pitch you're just doing tells me that you never will roof my house. So it's been fun seeing you. And I introduced myself, and he goes, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start out that way. And I said, oh, yes, you did. And so, but I said, do you, look at my hair. I'm almost 70 years old. Do you think that little piece of shingle bothers me? Do you think this bothers me or other people? I got over that at 50. It took me a while because I'm a sort of a performer, entertainer, and yeah, I want to look my best, but for heaven's sakes. And so that kind of calmed him down a little bit. He said, well, we've had a lot of hail damage in here. And he said, this roof looks pretty. And I said, this roof is 4 years old. He goes, oh. So, you know, sometimes I'm just blown away by the youth of America. And so I don't want to step on their parade or do anything, but it just blows my mind. Sometimes I just go, what the heck were you thinking? And so, you know, this rooster doesn't care. When you're dancing, you should dance like no one's watching. But I can't dance at all. So I really, if I cared at all, I wouldn't even walk out on the floor, which I only do one time at weddings. And but that's a fun little Irish rooster. There he is. Maybe the only thing is missing is a pint of Guinness, because I think when you finish dancing, you get a pint of Guinness. Hey, if you got a question for me this morning, I've got time to answer it. I don't have a plan today. I didn't even know if I was going to feel well enough because I've just been so fatigued with the illness that I'm fighting through. And I did the auction last night and plowed through and only coughed 27 times, I think. But when I say cough, it makes me cough. So I can't even think it. Think what? Cough. But I wanted to share two more things from me that I didn't have time to share last night. I just ran out of space. And as I said, thank you to you people who follow me and support me and Cheap Joe's Art Stuff, who I just use so much of their, well, give you an example. This is Sumi Ink from Yasutoma, and thank you, Phoebe. But Phoebe's company sends it to Trader Joe, or Cheap Joe's, Trader Joe's. They're down at the bottom of the hill. Sends it to Cheap Joe's, so I get it from those guys. So it's really a fun thing that the family of networking. And then Grit Magazine has been so grand to me, just to let me paint and ride shotgun in the back of their magazine. But there were a couple that I didn't get to share with you last night that I wanted you to see. I don't have the originals anymore. I sent them out. But I wanted to use one as a connection story this morning. So while this dries just for a second, if you've got a story, just go QQ or QQQ, and I'll search in a minute. Or if you've got a question, I'd love to answer questions if I could. Anything you might be working on, anything that's kind of stopped you, anything that stonewalled you. I know I've been talking to some of you about my schedule changing and what's coming up this year with Patreon. It's going to run through the end of the year, and then it's going to go away, and I'm going to do a shorter little version that's just going to pop up some days. It's going to be called Rue 857s, and I'm going to do 8-minute 57 little pieces, but I'm still going to do Saturday mornings. I want this connection. If y'all still want to show up and paint some and ask questions and be creative and brainstorm, I think of new ideas every day. And it's not like I find a place to sit down to make that happen. But then I found this interesting thing happening. I'm thinking of ways to get me to sit down and make that happen. And that's a creative idea in itself. And I'm going to give you an example of that in just a second. But I wanted to show you what happens with connections when that happens. This is a painting that I did. Why don't I just look at the date on the magazine? Yeah, August 13th, 2018. If some of you have this magazine, it's called Potting Bench Plants, Sweet and Savory, Troublesome Farm Ponds, Light Up the Night, and Attract Fireflies. So fireflies was one of the subjects. Some of you may remember this. I was not painting online then. I didn't start till March of 2020. And I was still painting downstairs at the art bar where all this goes to get shipped or get lost, whichever way I work the best. But they send me all these topics, and Light Up the Night, Attract Fireflies. So the first thing I thought about was how chickens love to chase fireflies, and they love to eat them. And have you ever seen one light up in a chicken's throat? That's pretty fun. And before it goes on past the gizzard. I lost my train of thought, but I'll find it back. Blink. There's a place I know you've heard me talk of this. There's a place in the Smoky Mountains on the southwest side of the Smokies. There's a place called Ware's Valley, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's called Cades Cove, and I used to go there. It's an 11-mile loop around this mountain cove. It's just absolutely gorgeous. The meadows are filled with deer, and there's some bear and all kinds of wildlife in there. But there's an old gristmill there that I used to go look at, and my dad would take me there. And there's a barn there that I modeled for another barn that I built in 1983. And I always wanted to build a cantilevered barn, and I don't even think I could find a picture, and I certainly should have thought of posting it for you. But my granddaughter and I were just there recently, and I shot a picture of her shooting a picture. And that was pretty cool. Shot a picture of her shooting a picture. Oh, here it is. Look at this. I found it. In 1983, here's a picture. I'm just going to let you see it on here because I can't get it to swing around. This was the gristmill that I built in 1983. There it is right there. That's the gristmill. And it has a 10-foot water wheel. And then there's this cantilevered barn. And there it is right there. If you see, all these are tongue and groove they're actually notched beams, and these at the bottom are all wormy chestnut, and they were pre-Civil War, and they came out of an old cabin that was about 75 yards north of here. And the day we took it down with a bulldozer and a chain and a bucket and a backhoe, and I carried a pistol to shoot the snakes. And a rake to dip them out. And I think I shot 4 copperheads and 1 rattler the day we did this. So But these are poplars that we replaced these with. But this whole front side right here were original notches that the cabin builder built. And so this is where the Cole family lived in part of this cabin. I wanted to turn it into a chicken house. So already before I was ever painting chickens, I was building this chicken house that was modeled after Cades Cove barn. It's called a cantilever barn. And so these long cantilever beams come out and they hold up the roof for the farmer to back his wagons in the evening, or when the rains came, he could even back a horse and wagon under there. So it's really a cool setup. And I was attracted to that. In Cades Cove, there is a place, and there's a mile marker is marked, and you can get a ticket. You can go online and look at this, Cades Cove, and go look up Cades Cove, C-A-D-E-S, Cades, C-A-D-E-S, Cove, C-O-V-E, and type in fireflies, and you'll see there's a time of year in June where it's called synchronization. And so people can only let so many cars go in. It's a one-lane road around, and thousands of people request tickets to go and see this. My brother-in-law's seen it. I've never seen it in person. I've heard about it since I was a married man, because nobody even noticed it for a while until video cameras came and people talk about it and everybody'd forget about it. You go into Cades Cove and you park along the roads and you walk to this field and you just wait in silence. People bring their chairs and they can't bring a lot of stuff, and so they move in slowly and quietly. And it's unbelievable. And then you start to see fireflies start to flicker, and they come up out of the grass. Doop, 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 doop. And then after about 10 to 12 minutes of the air just being filled with them, something strange starts to happen. You're going to think this is too goofy, but it's true. It's hard to see the videos. People have tried to video it, and it just doesn't work correctly because of the lighting. The lightning bugs aren't bright enough. But suddenly, you'll see pockets of them blinking together. And then suddenly, millions and millions of fireflies will be synchronized, and they all are going blink, 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 blink. And so that's the story. And I knew about that story, and I wanted to bring attention to that story. And so I painted this for Grit. You didn't know you were going to get a little history lesson here. And so here it is right here. So here's these little peeps. Now, here's the deal, he says. Everybody got a bulb, but you're all charged up. Stand still. When they blink, you blink. They blink, you blink. You move a little bit when they blink. You get the picture? Don't eat more than 6. That's the limit. And stay out of the puddles. Trust me on that. So they all have these little battery-powered lights wired to their heinies. They got the battery chargers here, and they go out. So here's what happened. The article that's written in here about this, let me find it. Come on. In the Glow. Here it is right here, page 48. Okay. Never heard of this guy. Never knew anything about him. The magazine comes out, and I get it right here. Okay? And so he's talking about how to attract more fireflies to your property. And so his name is Dr. Gary Noel, N-O-E-L, Ross, R-O-S-S. Okay? There he is right there. That's his name. He writes this article, and I love the article. About 2 days after this book comes out, Dr. Ross sends me an email. He's a retired entomologist and award-winning nature writer from butterfly festivals of North America. He goes on and on and on. It's a great, his credentials are unbelievable. He sends me a note, and he says, first of all, I want to know, can I buy the original painting that you painted for Grit Magazine? I am an entomologist, and that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And I said, well, second of all, then, you've made my day. And third of all, I don't have the original. I shipped it to Grit, but I have my working sample here, and I'll turn it into an original for you and spruce it up and do all that. And he goes, I'm in. What do I owe you? And I said, you don't owe me anything. So I painted this kind of, again, I'd already set it apart, and I'd done some things for it, and I sent it to him. He got my address, and he sent me back 3 magazines that he had written and articles about butterflies. And so this art communication, this connection is mind-boggling. So here's a guy who doesn't know beans from apple butter. Well, I do know beans. That's my next thing I'm going to read to you. But I don't know much. And here's a guy who studied insects and entomology all his life and has made his living writing and sketching butterflies and drawing and so he wants a piece of my art. And I'm thinking, dude, I want some of your art. And so he sent me a package, and I have his magazines here. I kept them. They were not part of anything that I moved out. And it's just fascinating. I wanted to share with you, though, how simple things like art and bees and insects and the farm life that people live in, the simple life, connects people inside and out, the recipes, everything else. And so that's kind of the fun thing that I wanted to share with you this morning. That I didn't get to share last night, and I didn't want to take up time doing that. So, Stephen Dockery said, I saw a video of a British artist the other day doing a demonstration. He said, watch what I've discovered with this pintail pen. It does a beautiful bleed when you add water and creates a shading effect. Voila! Don't you love it when it goes across the country? People go, man, this pintail pen. Now, Pintail's going to hear about this. They're going, artists are using our pen. We got to change them. It's one of those. Irene, thanks for being on the show. Thank you all for being here. Yes, and thank you guys for helping me support the Heifer Project. It's heifer.org, and I actually had someone who sent me a PayPal last night for their paintings with some more money attached and said, hey, I sent you this much more money to put toward another group of hens and bees for the heifer.org. So thank you so much. We're going to take some of the proceeds from last night and give it to heifer.org. And you can send all sorts of things, but I'm going to send chicks, which is 20 or 30 little chicks to get started for laying hens, and also some honeybees. When you start producing honey, local people need sugar. They need good sugar. They need real sugar. And so when you produce that, it's really fun. So that's going to be fun. Will you still be doing Good News Roo? Yes, Linda, I will still be doing Good News Roo on most Tuesdays. I have just felt so poorly here recently. I think I just posted some cues, and I didn't mean to. I typed them in the wrong box. Yes, okay. I will be doing Good News Roo, and Good News Roo is free to anyone who wants to look. It's in fact, if you just hashtag Good News Roo, it'll come up on the YouTube channel. I'm painting through the book of John right now, just the Gospel of John, and it's in a Bible journal. And people join me, and I tell a little story, and then I paint a small little picture that reminds me of the story. It's not art lessons. It's lessons in this brain, remembering what he reads and what's important to apply in my life. And so that's what Good News Roo is. So I will still be doing that. Thank you very much. Yes. All right, let's see here. Ginger Pate, I think I saw you go by. Randall Taylor Craven, thank you so much. I just set my little beautiful tin over there with the girl in the pearl the other day, and I appreciate you so much. Ooh, did you say cantilevered? Yes, cantilevered barn. Jason, look at the cantilevered barn in Coades Cove, and I will send you, let me make myself a note. I'll send you a picture of the one that I built, okay? Jason Cantilever barn. And this one was wormy chestnut wood, and the wood, like I said, was pre-Civil War cabin. The story is that Mary Cole, who was living there at the time, when the Union soldiers came through the mountains of western North Carolina, she hid the family silver down in the well in an old sack and weighted with rocks and let it down with some tomato twine and let it sit in there. And they dipped water out, couldn't see anything in there, and nobody thinks about it. And so when they were taking silver and everything else they could take. So, all right, so Jack Wolfenbarger, blessings to you, my friend. Pat Lightbody, Marie Awad, thank you. Good to see you on. Finally catching you live and got to go now. Andy, thank you. Sorry, and it was a quick thing, so howdy ho, and away we go. All right. Linda says, Jason, let us know when you sketch the barn, and I'd love to watch. Okay, there you go. So that's there. We're connecting each other already. All right. Sorry we missed the auction last night. Hope you're feeling better. Yes, Bob. Most things went more than $33. I still owe you some fishing flies, and I haven't forgotten them. The two roos that I've held on to, and this one, by the way, just came back up butterflies again, and this was not by the same doctor, but this was just this year, March and April. And this is this magazine and the original is already gone. And this is the one where I did the QR code of the recording of the poem. I wanted the poem to read the way the rooster would say it, I know beans. And I've laid this out to commit this. So I want to tell you about an idea, and then I'm going to paint one more thing. And I'm going to paint one more black and white rooster with a little less water. Where's my paper? As soon as I find all my paper, here it is right here. This is all Kilimanjaro paper. I literally just cut it this morning off of a big piece. To create ideas, to make you create ideas is a marvelous thing. So if you haven't thought of that yet, that's why you carry a journal. That's why you carry a little notebook. That's why you always have a pen in your pocket. If you say that you think like an artist and you don't have a pen or a piece of paper to write with, I don't have to, you shouldn't be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for you. Okay. Always have a pen somewhere. I have 2 in my pocket right now. I have 5 lying on the desk. I have a notebook in my back pocket. I'm never far away from my little leather pad, which has a notebook and paper. There's a lobster just hanging out in there. In the back of this is my Kilimanjaro paper cut to fit. Here's a little notebook that I just make notes with. Look, I've just put a new piece in here. I ran out. I write stuff in here. Here's my art bag, my print bag, my Bible journal, my barge glue. I got to get some barge glue and glue my friend's Bible back together. So, I just keep up with stuff all the time. If I don't, I'm in serious trouble. So what I wanted to do is, while that rooster dries, I want to paint one more just black and white. I wasn't happy with, I used too much water in the beginning, and I felt like I had a little bit of a soap. I love what happened to it, but I'm going to show it to you when it dries completely. All right. Here we go. And I had something else on my mind I was going to tell you, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, yeah, the idea. I'll paint first, and then we'll talk about the idea. Any tips on avoiding creative burnout? Well, I will tell you this. Your health is everything, because mine has been poor, and I've been working to keep it good, but I have just got something that is a viral thing that I couldn't help, like everybody else in the world. But I do think pace is important, and I think sometimes the pace that we keep is not realistic. And I really think that's a mistake. I really do. I think we just go faster than we need to go. And so even though you want to be creative, and I am the skillet calling myself cast iron black, okay? Because it is, I go too fast, and I'm too old to go this fast. And so I found myself consulting with some men in their 40s, and I'll say, change your pace, change your pace, change your pace. So I'm changing my pace. And so I'm not offended if in the middle of the day at 2 o'clock, the wheels are coming off my wagon. I just go, I'm going to go read a little bit. If I fall asleep with my notebook, I'm good with that. And then last night I rallied. Yesterday afternoon, I did that yesterday. I just went, whoa. And I came in and I dozed for about 40 minutes. And I realized I got nothing to do until Carol picks up the grandson. We get him back here. We'll have a little dinner together. But while they were gone, I rallied. And I finished an editing piece. I wrote a voiceover, all within pace. And then I came in and I put all the magazines together that I wanted to use last night. I already had them scattered out. I started that a day or two before. So I think part of it is just pace. And we can't do all that we want to do. So just keep a list and do them as you can. I think that really is important. And then when you have these things that you want to create, I'm sure we'll run out of life before we run out of creativity. And that's okay. But man, I don't want to run out of creativity before I run out of life and just be able to just go, because my firing offense to young people who work for me all during 30 years of my ministry career and everything else, 40 years of that, was that if you say you're bored, you won't be tomorrow because you'll be looking for a job. I'll fire you. And they go, no, you won't. And I went, I promise I will. It's a free to work state in North Carolina. So I can say it's about chemistry and style. You sit there and say you're bored. So you must not like working here because you're not thinking for you. You're not thinking for us. You're not thinking for the company. You're not thinking for me. You're not thinking for the vision of who we say we are. And so for me, that is how I rescue myself in that. But at the same time, I'm not asking you to run full force. I'm not asking you to throw everything else to the wind. We all did that when we were young men, and we put too much time in our job. We cheated the wrong thing. We cheated the company. No, we didn't. We cheated our families, and we played hard to the companies and even the ministries. And I say we should cheat the company and not our families. And so watch your pace. Watch your pace. And don't feel bad about saying no. I've said no to things this year. Okay? I hope that helps. It's a little more, sounds like a little more counseling than creativity, but it runs in this vein because my granddaughter sits over there one day, and I said, and I'm hoping her crank up the dial a little bit at 18 during her gap year, because we've made a list of 10 things she wants to learn. I said, what if you just learn 3? 3 things is more than some people learn in a year. Carol and I now are saying if we learn one new thing a year, I mean brand new thing, if it's go and blow glass, or if it's go and dig in archaeology somewhere, or go to a mine and experience something, or learn a new, she wants to do a different kind of jewelry forming. And so, or I've got a guy I want to teach, a blacksmith who believes he wants to learn. And so I've got him on a schedule. I said, in the middle of November, it's coming. You're going to come to my house, and we hope it's a cold morning, because I'm going to make you make a hook. And by the time you get that hook made, you're going to want to hang your coat up, because you're going to be working up a sweat. And then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to do it again. And that's the muscle memory that I'm trying to ask you to do in art. So over and over and over and over. And that really does help people. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I should. All right, I'm going to do this same little Roo here, just kind of like this. And just let him go down. I want to see it a little different with a little less water. And I'm going to put this foot way up here like this time, and let this leg come out this way, and then kind of come in, and there we go. That's him right there. And so crosshatch this with this 07. And yeah, the man in Britain is right. These pintail pins have a beautiful bleed. So don't rule this out as a beautiful watercolor tool. All right. Hey, my granddaughter, I said, okay, got a little project for us. She said, what is it, Roo? I'm excited. I said, you know how people run around with their cameras, young people today, and they go, hey, be real. Every day they shoot a photo, just be real. It's just a candid shot that they share. It's called Be Real. If you don't know about it, ask your grandkids. I said, well, I want to start something that's called Be Roo. She goes, what? I said, yeah, it's Be Roo. I don't need you to share it with the world, but I need you to snap a shot either on the camera you're borrowing from me, which is 30.9 million pixels. I want you to shoot a photo, or with your phone. I want you to shoot a photo that resonates with you, with your heart. Maybe one that stops you in your tracks. Maybe one that stops your breathing. Maybe one that makes you laugh. Maybe one that makes you smile. Maybe one that makes you cry. Maybe one that the empathy rolls out and you go, oh, woe is me. Maybe something, I don't care what it is. I'm not telling you what the list is. Send me a photo. When I receive that photo, you don't even have to give me an illustration or a description. If you want to say boom, 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 or this, if you want to say what it means to you, that's fine. You don't have to. Just send me the photo. Within me putting on a cup of tea when I receive it and looking at it while the tea is steeping. During the time I drink that cup of tea, I'll write a short poem about that photo. And she goes, seriously? I go, yeah. So for the last 2 days, boom, boom. And so then today I thought, I know what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it, her name is Lily, and I'm Roo, and it's a view. I'm going to call it the Lily Roo View, and I'm going to post it. And so the first one is, the first one has a foggy view out a window with the sun coming in, and it's about the window being fogged up and a little frost. And then the next one is more of a little cowboy approach to life and something, a little doggy that was glistening in the sun. And so who knows what will come in today. I think we're going to do it 4 or 5 days a week, and just for fun. And now, here's what that does. That doesn't take me physically out of play, but it keeps me mentally charged up. So do you see how I use that to answer your question? Because I had it written down to share it with you, but Jason, you teed it up for me. So Hugh says, my high school students are into Be Real. Fantastic. Well, then what I would do, Jason, is I would say, let's up the ante for you. So if it's be real, why don't you add a be, your own be thing to it and say, um, why don't you share one with somebody in the class, and somebody else has to do the first little architectural sketch or concept or bolt head or rivet or something that it comes up to. So make it just a fun little way for people to go, boom, I didn't know that was I did not know, as the old Bible story says, what do you think Goliath thought when David hit him in the head with the rock? And the answer is, nothing like that had ever entered his mind before. Boom. My point is, sometimes we go through life and things just don't enter our mind. That doesn't take our physical space, but it enlightens us underneath to go, that's a fresh idea. And so for me and Jason, we're just thinking about that right now. But can you imagine what if you chose 5 kids a week, Jason? 5 out of your class. 3. Let's just do 3. 3 kids a week. Just put their names on the board. You 3 this week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. 1, 2, 3. Next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay. To send you a photo and call it whatever they call you in class. Is it B Nick Pick? Okay. All right. Be a picnic. Okay. So it's your part of your name and a picture. They're going to send you something, and you're going to take that little idea and you're going to turn it into one of your sketches. One of your bridges, one of your, the way you do those things so well and so fast. And so you're going to draw those lines and you're going to go, but you're doing it left hand. I'm going, oh, what the heck is he doing? My point is, that would inspire you to say, wow, I'm always keeping some creative edge. Now, will you lose what you've got? No, you'll use that and bring it forward. And that's why you sometimes get out of the box and go do different things with your art. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, a little shtick on that. And I didn't know I was going to take you down a class deal, but that could work, Jason. It could be a fun little thing, but here's what happens. You will inspire them, and they're going to conspire to say, hey, let's stump him. Let's send him this. What if they sent you a rock? Well, then you would draw the Rock of Gibraltar. What if they sent you a bolt head? Then you would draw a rivet from the Statue of Liberty. What if they sent you an old shoe? You would sketch the woman who lived in the shoe, had so many children she didn't know what to do. Do you see what that does to your mind in storytelling? We forget that we can pick all these things up and they're supercharged to link together. I say this time and time again. I'm helping a young man write a book right now. And I said, all you have to do is connect this dot to this dot to this dot to this dot to this dot and get them back to here, and they will close the loop and go, oh, I didn't see that coming. It's a musical piece, and guess what? We're going with movement. Well, of course we are. And it's a short little piece, and it can't be too much. They don't have too much time. So how hard is this? Click. Boom, it goes into a box. You have a cup of tea, you sit down and you go, don't make this homework. Make it relaxing and refreshing. And all right. I love all the what ifs in this. And I'm a what if person from way back. And you could all do it. You could pick a partner. And that'd be the next phase of this, too, because he could show them a dozen of his that he's done for 4 weeks and then say, okay, you two, you two, you two, you two, you two, or you 3, boom, boom, boom. And so you've got this class thing that they're sitting in the park suddenly. You go, hey, everybody has an hour today to work on your picnic. And the administration's going like, what the heck is he doing? You can't give kids a picnic. And you go like, no, you don't understand. We're taking them on a journey that's just blowing their mind, and they're taking themselves on a journey. All right, so that's how you fall into an idea that has potential. Somebody's going to come up with an app, and it's going to be done, and you're going to say, hey, I heard about this. It's this guy that paints with Pentel pens. All right, so there's your other piece. Laura Abbott, thanks for saying hello. Improv with sketching. Hey, let me give you an example. And since it's 9:44 anyway, and I'm looking. Trust me. Okay, just give me 1 second here. All right, here we go. All right, here's an example. All right, see this little dog? He's a Frenchie. His name is Chaco. He's laying in the sun, and he's glowing. She walks by her little dog, her mom's dog. Let's make that clear. And she goes, today's Be-Roo is Chaco is glowing. And I said, well, this is going to be cowboy poem number 1. So this is in, as fast as I can type it, I started texting right then. So the little doggie's glowing, resting by the rug stream flowing. Cattle are settling down by the way. Chuck wagon is humming, stew is coming, and the cowboys have called it a day. Riding and roping and rocking your saddle all day pretty well beats your bum. Dust is clinging and the crickets are singing. Whew, it's a race to lay down with the sun. There's an old coyote hollering out there, but he's a long way off, and he won't come into camp just to get his tail shot off. So watch down the last stew bite and look for a soft place to land. The little doggies are settling. Whew, sun's up in a few hours. The whole thing starts again. Life is hard on the cowboy. Life is hard on the gear. Life is hard on the biscuit maker. The doggies, they don't seem to care. Boom. I signed it. She said, I love it. Cowboy poems are awesome. And I said, ta-da, little doggies. So there's our creative bent. That's as long as it needs to be. So if that were a sketch, you could see how that would become a sketch. Okay? So it could be guru. So it'd be Lily Guru. But that's the thing. So that's going to be an idea that it's already out there and I've started it. And then you know what we're going to do? So what happens next? Maybe we publish it, and maybe when she's my age, she'll sit down with her grandkids and go, look what I did. I shot photos for my grandfather, and he'd write a little poem. And they're going to go like, was he nuts? And she's going to say, oh, yeah, he was. He's certifiable. I love that so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So you see what's happening there? This is how you build ideas, people. I don't know how to tell you any more than you just never get too far away from the pen and the paper. And when these ideas strike, like I think Thomas Edison lived with that concept. What do we love looking at in museum? Da Vinci's catalogs and his sketch work. What do we look at when we see Vermeer's work? We want to see what he did. How could anyone paint a pearl like that? Rembrandt, don't you know that he walked out there and choked on the dust and lived by the chuck wagon and saw those cowboys riding hell bent for leather, as they would say? So a whole cowboy thing is in me. I'll never be a cowboy, but I got a cowboy hat. I'll never be a cowboy with a ranch, but I've got spurs. And I keep pointing over there because my hat and my spurs and my pistol are all hanging over there. And you think, oh, he's making that up. Yes, he is. Silver spurs with a jangle. There they are. All right. My point is that all those things for me are little snippets to keep me from losing my creativity. And as I get older, they keep my brain cells. They keep the highways and the synapses firing. And they keep building bridge. Dr. Jim Poole, Stephen and I were talking about him this week. My retired ADD, ADHD guy says it's all about repeating. You know, Jim would say, I drive a red truck. And my grandkids today who met him, and he talked to both of them at length about some things, they could say, Dr. Jim still have his red truck? And his face would just smile like this. He goes, you didn't forget. And they said, we'll never forget your red truck. And so for me, I'll never forget painting with her. I'll never forget the moments that she sent me a snapshot. So what happens is that you tend to look at everything not as a school work project, but as a creative piece that connects you to something else. And the good thing about architecture, Jason, is that if it's not connected, you don't have a building. And so I think that's true in relationships, people. If you're not connected somewhere, you really don't have much of a building. You're just out there sailing on your own. And even as an artist, if you don't have a place to hear some critique, if you don't have a place to hear some frustrating news about your art or what you need to improve on, if you don't have a place to do some of that, and somebody's bold enough to say, stop doing that, you say, every time I drink this tea, it hurts my eye. And you say, get the spoon out of the glass. All right? Okay. I need a big old spot of green in here, and then I'm going to answer any questions you have, and I'm going to be done for the day. I'm one slap out. It's time for me to take one of my creative breaks. But I love these two roosters that have sort of flown in from Ireland. And next week, I'm going to start posting again on my page, just some daily roos and connection and relationship. Kenneth Sanders says that's what it's all about, man. You got to do it. So if you haven't been across the street to the neighbor, paint them something and take it over there. Maybe they need to see you. Maybe you just need to check on them. Don't take them chicken soup. Tell them I painted you a chicken. Friends came to our house the other night for dinner, young couple, and they got ready to leave. And I handed them a little rooster. And they went, for us? But you served us dinner. And I go, yeah, but you can't eat this. Well, you could, I guess, but I'd prefer you didn't. And so still love to give those things away when I can. A little green in this grass here, and then we'll make that go away. All right. So I got to finish up my tea. Spoon and glass. Did I have you make us all smile and think creatively this morning? Thanks for letting me just ramble on. And sometimes that's what it's about. I did it again. I posted cues. I am just see? Any tips on avoiding creative burnout? Yeah, barge glue. Barge. Jennifer, you might just need rubber cement, but if you want to look up barge, B-A-R-G-E, if your Bible's coming apart in the backing, if it's one of these things that's breaking open way back here in this, one of the things that you might want to do is rubber cement, like a bookbinder cement. Barge might be a little strong, but he's got kind of a big leather handmade cover on his, so we thought barge might really come in and hold that. B-A-R-G-E. If you haven't used barge glue, use it. It's a industrial contact cement. There's contact cement that's non-flammable. There's contact cement that's flammable. I'm going to tell you that the one that's flammable is the one that will hold on forever. It'll also hold your skin tight. It'll also burn you like you put your hand on the range, and you want to be careful with it when you're using it. It comes in a red can as opposed to a blue can. I know a lot about glues. I had a glue, I had a guy on a movie set one time who spent a half hour with me going through his little box. He had like grandfather's little toolbox, a little wooden handle and the ends on it. And it's all filled with glues. He goes, this is Zap-A-Gap, and this is Zip Kicker, and this is cyanoacrylate to the 10th degree. And when you get cut, squeeze the cut together and put a drop of this on there. You don't need a Band-Aid. I still do it today. Anyway, and it says, do not put this in contact with your skin. Yet when doctors use it, that's what they do. So you just don't put it in the wound. Okay. So I learned a lot about lots of things. Okay, let me get out of here. Go back and let me say goodbye to you all. And I didn't used to make glue, but if you haven't read Art and Faith by Yako Fujimura, you should read it. He was given a stone when he graduated art school that they make their own ink on, and it's pine branches, and they use rabbit glue. Yeah, it's made from real rabbits, and they rub the pine sticks on the stone with a little bit of water for hours, and that's where they come up with their super black ink for printing. And so glues are always fascinating to me. It's an art show. Can I tell you this? Y'all are crafts people, probably. Just be careful with crafts. Spell it out sometimes. C-R-A-F-T. Oh, if this was gone and this were P, some crafts are crap. And so know the difference, okay? People go, oh, look, I made this. You go, no, you didn't. You just tried to make what somebody else made, and you made a bad version of it. Don't do that. If you're going to make a good version, make a good version, or make your own version, or change 60% of it at least and own it. So crafts and the other word are really close. Be careful, but that doesn't mean that good workmanship is needed. Your hands are great tools, so make good things when you're making things, okay? If you're making a letter opener, make it like somebody else has never had one, you know? And so, make the little rat tail so file that you go, yeah, I did that with a 2-pound hammer. You go like, really? Isn't that overkill? And you go, yeah, but you want to learn the finesse of that little bitty tiny curl on that rat tail and this little twist. So this is my letter opener, see? Zip, zip, zip. But who gets letters anymore? Okay. And then there's this one here, which I never really finished, but there's a small deer antler point with a blade that had already started grinding down, and just a little piece of brass that I cut, never even ground it all, finished. But hey, just for another day. I was going to tell you one more thing, and what was it? I don't remember. Shucks. I've been on one of those ADD, ADHD rolls today, so I don't really know what I was going to say. But right now I've got to go get some pancakes started for the boy. Oh, that's it. Other glue. If you want to glue something together, a book I wrote years ago on leadership journals had this in there, and the company told me I could use it. I called them and said, hey, I want to put your link in my book. And the book's called Taking the World with a Grain of Salt. You won't find it anywhere, but it was a leadership book that I did in 2000. And it's called This. I think it's probably, the site may still be up. I haven't looked, so somebody can look. ThisToThat.com. If you want to know how I could glue this to this, this to this, here, where's my camera? This to this. If you want to know how to glue those two things together, go ThisToThat.com, and you might find that there's going to be a glue that says, oh, and about 85%, and it must be run by 3M, will be something from 3M. And if you want just some good old spray glue to put it on there and let it set up, 3M M77 or 3M77, man, there's some glues that those guys are serious about their glue. But Barge is a company that's come on strong. All right, and I learned that through Carol's leather work. Carol did leather. We did leather work for a long time where we would make things out of leather, even stuff like this. And we would glue the inside flap in. And so, all right, there you go. Golly, I just talked all morning, but I loved it. Hey, Jason, keep me posted on the picnic or whatever you decide to call it. That could work in a classroom. If you want to create the app, I'll share it with you. We'll be on to something. Teaching architecture at a pictorial level. I like it. I like it. Linda Schleitney says, grandkids have just arrived at French Toast Morning. It's about to happen. Wish me luck. You don't need luck. Just make a good egg sweet batter with extra vanilla. Let the toast get all soggy, fried in butter. You're done. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles.